Already got the 6 bolts in there, hand tight. Then you got to put in one here, one on the other side, one in the back, one over there. Get you one of these. It's a 10mm Tecton universal and it's shallow. You can get right through there to get that back bolt on this side. This one's a little more difficult, but you can go through. Let's see if I can get the angle right. There it is right there. You can see the head of the socket is on that bolt. All right, next up is installing the Supercharger pulley. It's a 5mm Allen head. If you follow the S550 instructions, it says leave it hand tight until after the belt's installed. So it doesn't say use any Loctite or anything either. All right, so the gasket's installed. Start up there, wrap it around, go up, and then there's a short piece here. Also turn all your injectors before you bolt down the intake, otherwise you can't plug them in. Okay, throttle body's on. You're gonna have to get a 90 for the heater hose and run it back behind the intake. This one here will work just fine. This, I need to figure, maybe I'll go off of this, back there somewhere was, oh, right there. There's a vacuum spot I can grab for my air conditioning. Throttle body's on. Now we're making the factory airbox work. All right, here's a recap from last week. The lower has to come back off. That heater hose there is a problem, so I gotta do something with that. Also, if you look real close, no spacer on the bottom, but a spacer on the top with ID 1050s on a Gen 6 touches the head. So I bought a set of spacers from Injector Dynamics. These are supposed to fix that. Fortunately, getting the fuel rails off with the lower in the car is just a giant pain in the ass, so I'm just going to pull it all out and do it at once. Also, I'll run that heater hose because it's got to come over and connect down here. So that's what the big holdup's been. Also, got some updates on the heat exchanger because the S550 heat exchanger just won't work unless you want to chop things up. All right, get your 5mm out. So this car is going to have a 4 Innovations fuel system in it, but currently I'm running this so I can just get it started because I'm going to redo all the fuel lines front to back. So anyway, get your bolt out, pull up on the rail, and pull your injectors out. Loop up the O-ring. And snap. Won't be bothered by it. So now, here's your injector. It's got the spacer on it. Pop the spacer off. Get you some more grease for the O-rings. And these will just pop right down in place also.
did clean these injectors when they came off of my truck, so I know they're all good, ready to go. Also, I pretty much always stayed with 93 octane. The last time I tried to run E85 in it, I bought it from a Murphy USA, which is like the gas station by Walmart's. And in the past, it's always tested good there. But on this day, whoever delivered their fuel before decided to put 87 octane into the E85 tank. Not cut the E85 with 87, but he just straight delivered 87. So, yeah, I had some issues with that. All right, so line up your injectors and then just push down. And you're going to use the top bolt hole. And it goes in without an issue. Alright, that's it for this part. Alright, I got the heater hoses situated. What I'm going to do is I swap these around. Instead of trying to make this one bend and go back there and over, I'm going to run this one to this side of the head and then run this one backwards up underneath the pinch weld over to there. And then I'll get a, I guess, reducer for this size hose to go into this one. It's going to run the heater core backwards, but I'm in South Texas. It's not like it gets that damn cold anyway. So there's the spacers on. Whipple's powder coater is pretty much garbage. Man, he does a horrible job. I found tape in different spots still, and it's not quite worth $600 to get this done. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna put the blower back on and start getting all bolted back up. And I did add a 1/4-inch push lock for vacuum. I'm gonna run a boost gauge and a fuel pressure regulator off of that one. All right, these spacers definitely work with the Gen 6. Gives you plenty of room to get the injector clip off the head. So now I'm gonna start dropping the bolts down in and getting it bolted back up. So we're gonna try hooking it from the side. You can barely see it, but boom. Get it down there in the hole and just pull the magnet back and it'll drop in. All right, the lower's back on. I'm gonna plug in the injectors. I got everything torqued for the lower. First pass is like, I think 89 inch-pounds and 106. For that, I'll put the upper back on and then start working on getting this belt put into place. All right, so I've been trying to fit the heat exchanger in here. This is a CX Racing one. I had one on my Calypso green car back in the day. I just made some simple mounts out of aluminum and got it close enough. This side is hitting on the little power steering cooler, but my plan is I'll just weld this on there and that'll be good enough. Same for this side. I'll just leave the tech screws in, weld the plate on there, and I'll probably end up getting a tube front end now. I wasn't trying to do that, but it does make it easier to fit everything if I go that route. So that's about it for how to put a whipple on a Coyote swapped car. There's a few little nuances I figured out, like swapping your heater hoses around. It's not going to make much of a difference. Of course, you got one is a 5/8, one's a 3/4 inch line, so you might have to get an adapter or two. No big deal. I just swapped out the plugs on it. That was easy enough. Even that back one by the Hydro Boost wasn't a problem because I have some 1/2 inch K-member spacers. So I got that extra room and just used a 1/4 inch ratchet with an adapter.
I did not use the S550 heat exchanger. Instead, I did use a, you can't really see it down there, it's a CX Racing. It's like 22 by 14 by 4, I think. I'll get you the exact measurements if you need them, just ask. I'm trying to burp the coolant system right now, but the battery is dead because I left the door open. So in a few hours, I'll be able to do that. I also did swap out the radiator from the Fluidine. I think it had a small leak in it to this one. I had to drill and tap that fitting because when I took the fitting out from LMR, it ripped the threads out with it. So that's all I'm waiting on to be able to start it up. I'll get its operating temperature, make sure it's all burped out, let it cool, then the next day I'll come back and start the data logging for Lund. And that's about it.